Sup everyone, it's Shermsy here, back for another guide, but this time my first of hopefully more to come charge blade guides, and this video is all about how to do the very hidden and secretive multi-hop moveset and stationary hop moveset, where typically most people know about what the game teaches you, which is hopping after any sword or shield moveset. In this video, I will firstly show you the basics of normal hopping and what I call I-hopping, then demonstrate the stationary hop moveset, followed by how to multi-hop and the benefits of both. Once we have gone through the tutorial, I will show you practical examples against popular movesets of certain monsters, so you can see the benefits for yourself, and this is probably the most important, so you can decide for yourself if it's worth learning or not. Then I will give you a short conclusion on my thoughts of these movesets, learning them, and the practicality of them. Without further ado, it's time. Firstly, let's talk about the normal hopping you can do with the charge blade. You can side hop left or right after any sword and shield movesets, including attack and defensive moves. Thus, the only time you can't hop is when you have your axe out. So if we do an attack, try to go left, right, whatever, it won't work. Just to demonstrate the possibilities from where you can hop from a single slash, a double slash, a spinning slash, a charge slash, a sliding slash, a shield thrust, any of the guard points, including guarding with low knockback. You can do it from charge files. You can do it from stored files. You can do it from charge sword slash. You can do it from an AD. Bit slow. And same thing with an SAD. Also slow. Yep, so those are the examples. Now I'll explain what I mean by I-hopping, which stands for invincibility hopping. Whenever you perform a hop with the charge blade, which we're going through all the possibilities in this guide, you actually are performing an I-hop. But technically you perform a I-hop if you actually dodge an enemy attack or roar by using the built-in invincibility frame, or what is commonly known as I-frame. For example, if you hear someone say, "I've just I-hopped through the monster's move," then it means they hopped and dodged a particular moveset or roar by hopping through it. This is important to know because this is one of the biggest benefits to hopping with the charge blade, including positioning, dodging, follow-up with a spinning slash, and others we'll discuss shortly. Okay, now we're going to quickly talk about what moves you can do after a hop. This includes the popular spinning slash by tapping Y or triangle for PS4 after a hop, which quickly charges your files, as you can see, and a very important move since it's also a quick counter with one of the highest DPS sword moves. You can also spam this move continuously, as you can see. Files just gets charged real quick. It also counts to one of the three combos you need to perform an AD or SAD, so really fast counter there, high DPS. Next, you can actually quickly guard point after any hop, just like that. And you can also perform a sliding slash, which is fantastic for creating distance away from your target, or if you want, you can do the same thing to close in on your target. Lastly, with this guide only, wink wink, you can perform a second or however many hops you want given how much stamina you have remaining. So just bear that in mind, but you don't really need to manage your stamina too much unless you're spamming, you know, for whatever reason, stamina draining moves. Or obviously if you're inflicted with status effects that affect stamina. What would help greatly is if you consumed a dash juice, but honestly it's not necessary at all. I've never used a dash juice personally with a charge blade. Okay, so but before we get to Mutli Hopping, let's get to one of the main events, how to do a stationary hop. It's actually very, very simple. All you need to do is hold your shield out by pressing, by holding your right trigger or R2 for PS4. And whenever you're ready, hold L2. I'll just do it in slow motion. Hold L2 or LT, left trigger, and quickly press A or X in either left or right direction. So there. If we do that again, hold it down. So I'm holding RT. Now I'm also holding left trigger and I'm tapping A to the right. So that's how you do the stationary hop. The benefits of a stationary hop is that you're already in a defensive position, and if you perform the hop, you'll be either repositioning, dodging an enemy attack to avoid loss of sharpness instead of guarding, or eye hopping. And for eye hopping, if you do this practical terms, it's typically for roars in my experience, especially the ones that give large knockbacks, so you can react quicker. So that explains stationary hop. Now we finally get to move to the core move and most practical move in this guide, the multi-hop. You essentially are going to press the same combination of buttons, however pressing them quickly after you perform any of the two ways to perform the multi-hops, which I'll be guiding you through. Let's start with the easiest but less efficient method. When you're about to perform a hop, or quickly after you've done one, hold in both the left trigger and right trigger, or L2 and R2, and keep tapping A in either direction, left or right. So hit hop right. Now I'm holding in right trigger and left trigger, R2 and R2. And all I'm doing is holding these buttons in and tapping A in whatever direction. But bear in mind this uses up your stamina, so you can't spam this forever. But it does regenerate a little bit after each one, so you can see. A slightly more complicated way, but a lot more efficient because it's extremely fast-paced, is by holding your shield out the whole time, so RT or R2, and after each hop, quickly hold LT left trigger or L2 and press A in either left or right direction. Rinse and repeat. So it should look like this. Wait, let me just start with the normal hop. Go. Now I'm gonna mix up the hops. Let's just get the stamina back. In terms of direction, oh, just messed up a little bit there. See how I can go left and right anytime I want? That is extremely efficient. There you go. There is a visual cue to help, which is what I do, where once you've hopped, wait for the left spike of the shield, or left side of the shield, to go past your character's face on his left hand side, or her left hand side. And yeah, and that's the time where I press and hold left trigger and then A in whatever direction, or L2 and X in either direction. So the visual cue is typically what I use. But then after doing it so many times, it's also, once you've practiced it, like anything, like guard pointing, you know, once you get familiar with doing it, it's second nature. You know, you don't need any visual cues. So yeah, so the less efficient version may be sufficient for the purposes you intended for. So don't worry if you can't do the more efficient version yet. To be honest, I do the less efficient version too, quite a lot. So yeah, it's not necessary, but it does help when you need to do a quick dodge, let's say, or you want to reposition even quicker to maybe counter or whatever you want to do. So yeah, so now I hope you've learned the 3 new movesets. The stationary hop and the 2 different versions of the multi-hop. You could have done this in the base world. It was a lot easier. It was more similar to the less efficient version I've just shown you guys. But the more efficient version, I completely learned that by myself. So I thought I'd share it with the community, and hopefully you know, people can use it. And what I'd love to see is people step up their game, you know, where possible, because if you pull it off, it honestly it feels good and it looks really, really amazing. So yeah, so now comes my favorite part, the practical examples. And this should let you see for yourself if you think it's practical and something you may want to adapt and evolve in your own playstyle. But before we start, if you enjoyed this video so far, please hit that like button. And if you learned anything new and want to see what I have in store for you in the future, please subscribe. It's time.
Now we're going to do something extremely fun. We're going to play a wonderful game called Who is My Daddy? What Does He Do? Yes?
Okay, time for my conclusion and to wrap this up. Do I think this is a useful and practical skill? Absolutely, especially since I've only recently started to push myself to use this moveset where possible, and let me tell you, it's very satisfying to pull off. Is this moveset necessary to be skilled at the game? Absolutely not, since this moveset is not an official move within the game, but if you do find the opportunity to use it, it can be more beneficial than the default moves. Is this moveset for advanced players? No. As you can see in my examples, there are different ways you can use them, and the simplest and honestly the most practical of all is positioning to the monster's head when it's tripped or KO'd. This is the easiest and I envisage is going to be the most used reason for the move. However, the other examples does require more skill, but this is no different to how skilled say someone is at guard pointing. Basically, how well do you know your monster to anticipate their moves? Well, I had a lot of fun making this guide since I got the opportunity to share what I was able to figure out on my own. My biggest goal is to see more people using this new skill set. That would be the absolute highlight of my time and effort put into this. I'm personally a Charge Blade speedrunner and looking to do more guides in the future, so if you want to know how to efficiently kill a monster with the Charge Blade with some of the fastest times in the world, check out my speedruns. And if you want to encourage me to do more guides, please like and subscribe, since I do feel I can bring something new with my ideas. Well, cheers for watching and happy hunting!